and welcome in another video. In today's video I have a big announcement which I'm very excited about, and I mean you already know it because you clicked on the video, so is it still an announcement? I don't know. But yeah, I've been working on a coloring book for the last month or so. I actually signed the contract last year, but I wasn't able to really start last year simply because I had my solo show. Beginning of this year I also had neuralgia with my arm, and it's also why I haven't posted in so long, so I really apologize for that. I haven't posted since I think February, and it was impossible. I actually stopped working for about a month just to rest my arm, and in the end it was a mixture of bad posture when I was working, but now I have an inclined table, an inclined drawing table. I just bought some trestles, I think that's how they are called. Yeah, so the table is inclined now, and I have a better chair as well. I also got a triangular cushion, so I feel kind of old now. It's like aging is about pain, basically. Anyway, so I also bought a triangular cushion so I would sit perfectly straight. Because in my case, the neuralgia in my arm, so it was in my dominant arm, I still feel the nerve sometimes that is a bit tight, but I think it's going to take a while to be perfectly normal again. But I can work normally, so I don't really mind. But yeah, in my case, it was really about the spine, and I probably have some discal hernia, I think. I'm just really translating it from French, but basically it's my spine, and I fix the posture when I work. I did yoga twice a day. I stopped working for almost a month. I cancelled all of my group shows because it was bad posture, too much work, overworking, stress, and yeah, now I fixed all of this and I'm better. But it also explains why I haven't posted on YouTube, but that's just how life is sometimes. Anyway, so coloring book. So I've been working on the coloring book for the last 6 months. I'm doing an insane amount of drawings per week. Right now I have to do 3.75 pages. I know it's insane because my deadline is end of August. So yeah, there's still a lot of work to do, but I already progressed quite a bit, so it's not hopeless. And I know I can do those 3.75 pages per week, because some pages are a lot simpler. Some pages, of course, are very detailed and intricate because, well, it's my coloring book, so every page has to be an artwork, otherwise I'm not satisfied. But yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I'm also super excited that I finally can talk about it because I was not allowed to. And so every time we would talk to friends, I was like, yeah, but just don't tell it online. So this is like the huge project of this year for me. It's the coloring book. I have been asked by you guys a lot about coloring books because obviously I like to do ink drawings and watercolors and, well, mixed media. And the ink drawings, they looked like they could be in a coloring book, so it makes sense that people would ask for that. And I've been wanting to do coloring books for maybe 2 or 3 years. I actually thought about self-publishing, but it's just too much of a hassle. So when EMF contacted me, I said yes. Of course, I asked beforehand if I could do any kinds of drawings that I wanted, because I do like to have something a bit post-apocalyptic and nature growing over trash, and so it's not your regular mandala coloring book, if you get the gist. So I did ask that prior to signing, because I wanted to make sure that I was able to do whatever I wanted, especially since I treat all the pages as artwork. It's because I'm actually going to turn all of these pages, or at least most of them, into paintings. So I didn't want to force myself to do things I was not interested in just for the sake of a coloring book. So I wanted it to be really something that would make sense in the way I work and the themes I'm interested in. The other thing in that book is that I'm adding a bit of science, just a tiny bit. Basically on the double pages, so some pages are just one drawing on a double page, but some pages are one intricate drawing on the right and one focused detail on the left, on one animal, plant, fungi, and possibly mineral. I thought it was kind of fun to have, you know, a drawing and then a focus on a bird or a flower or something like that. So that's one thing that I wanted to add into the book. And the other thing is, I did not want to add that, but they asked me to. So there's going to be a full chapter on how to color with colored pencils, and I actually, for that, I asked to be sponsored. I got sponsored by Kilgast, and they sent me the full, so this is just the lid, they sent me their full collection of colors, so it's 100 of colors. I'm really excited about it. I think I've mentioned it before, but it's basically the only colored pencil brand that I use, and so that's why when EMF asked if I wanted to have some sponsors, I told them, yeah, I mean, you could ask Kilgast if that's if that's a thing. I'm not sure if they were going to say yes, but since I was already using them, and for me it's really important to only work with sponsors if I already buy their product, because otherwise I think it's just an advertisement, and I don't want to do that. I'm not a content creator, I'm an artist. I don't mind supporting publicly some brands that I use on the regular, but I do mind if it's a brand that I don't care about or that I would never buy myself. That makes sense. So yeah, I got sponsored by them and also by Hahnemühle, which is paper. Now, I've tried their paper before and I've used some of their papers, but the ones that I got, or the ones that I picked, are all 100% cotton papers, because that's usually what I use, hot pressed, and I haven't yet tested them. I don't see why they would not be great, because I love their sketchbooks, their 100% cotton sketchbooks. It's my go-to sketchbook, which is kind of affordable because if I had to pick like my favorite, it would be the Koval sketchbook. Koval? I haven't checked the pronunciation before, so I apologize. Koval sketchbooks, which are handmade in Poland, but they are twice as expensive as the Hahnemühle, so I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit much. Anyway, they're great. So I did know that Hahnemühle made great paper, so again, happy with that sponsor. I'm going to show you the pages that I've done so far. It's a lot, but I still have a lot. I think it's not even half of it. I also worked a lot on the iPad, especially for the details, because I figured it would be a little bit quicker, because then I'm using the same kind of motive, and then I just change, because I have 5 motives so far, and then I just change the animal, plant, etc. And it makes it a bit faster, because obviously it's a lot of work, so I am trying to streamline it where it doesn't matter as much. The artworks themselves, I do them with ink and paper, just because it's so much easier for me to actually draw with my hands on paper. I still haven't really gotten used to the iPad drawings. I find it not so nice, but yeah. So I still have 7 double pages, so I'm not I'm always halfway through, because I'm working on one double page right now. So let's pretend it's halfway through, because I think I should finish that one today. Okay, and the other drawings, so the portrait ones, I finished 1/3. So as you can see, there's still a lot to do. And again, 3.75 pages per week until August. So it's a lot. I did count off some holidays because I know we're going to have some holidays. My boyfriend has some holidays in August, so usually we go traveling at that time, and my mom is visiting in just a month, so I count out those weeks, obviously. But yeah, still a lot of work to do. But yeah, super exciting. You can already find the book on Amazon, the Germany version, so I don't know if it's going to be seen on other sites of Amazon. I don't know. It's going to be available worldwide. The release date is the 28th of November of this year, so 2023. You probably can pre-order it, but a month prior to that, but I'm going to make another announcement when pre-order is ready. I don't know. But yeah, coloring book. I hope you're as excited as me about it, and now I'm just going to show you the drawings, and yeah, I hope you like them so far. So here are the drawings that I've been working on. So this sketchbook I got in Australia. It's nothing very fancy. Yeah, I wanted to start there and I didn't have an A3 sketchbook with me, so I just got that one. I actually specifically got an Australian one because I was in Australia. It's a sketching book. I don't really have much to say about it. Anyway, so this one I made in Australia. So it's a swimming pool with ibis birds. A lot of ibis birds in Australia, and that's what prompted me to do this. And it has a very tropical feel to it because, well, the tropicals really impressed me when I was traveling in Australia. Now the next one, I actually redid this one because this here is a freshwater fish and this one is a saltwater fish, and obviously these are coral reefs, so I had to redo it. I actually did it again on my iPad. I traced it and changed the fishes. I did work a bit on my iPad for some of the pages. Now the next one is a really fun one. It's all kinds of colored pencils, and it's actually based on my own. So this is where I keep my colored pencil collection, at least for now. And so I used that as a reference to make this drawing. Now the next one, I made a YouTube video about it, if you recall. If not, I'm going to link it, and I transformed this one into a painting. I actually sold this one already, and yeah, it was really fun. I wanted to do a whole series and asked my photographer friends to send me pictures of the hand with their camera, but they did not, so I don't know, maybe I'm going to try and ask them again because I think it's a fun yeah, it's a fun concept. The last one is also a building that is where I live in Van, and for this one I decided to go for a kelp forest. I even added some whales, and yeah, I quite like how detailed this one has become. Now for the double pages, as you can see, it's a double page, and this time I used cotton paper to draw on it because some of these, or all of these actually, are going to become paintings. So this was the picture that I took during one of my travels, and it's a plane, obviously. And yeah, and I went for a bit of a tropical forest mood, but at the same time very open on this side with some details in front. Now this one, as you can see, is colored. I thought it would be fun to have painting a drawing with the tubes, and I decided to write down my favorite pigments. So I'm just going to tell you which ones they are. I might do a video about my favorite pigments. This is basically my core palette, although I do use a lot more pigments because a lot more pigments are available nowadays. But anyway, so my favorites are nickel azo yellow, isoindoline yellow, synthetic iron oxide red, it's also sometimes called transparent burnt sienna, then pyrrole scarlet, perylene maroon, which I love, it's really deep red. So this one is, they're all Schminke, not the tubes I used tubes that I had around the studio, but yeah, I only used Schminke paints for this one. Then of course quinacridone magenta, the PR122, I cannot live without that specific pigment. PB29, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue green shade, obviously, then phthalo green yellow shade, so it's PG36. Now this is one that not many artists actually use, they prefer the blue version, but I love this one to mix greens. It's such a useful mixing color. And of course lamp black that I diluted quite a bit so it could show. All the background is made in lamp black. So yeah, it was just a fun little idea that I had. It's going to be in the coloring book, but obviously empty. And yeah, I made that one, which I liked. And the last page is this one. So this is also from a reference picture that I took where I live. I personally love cranes, and I've been wanting to add cranes into one of my artworks for a really long time. And it was magnolia season not so long ago. And so the view was pretty much like this. Of course I tweaked it. I'm going to show the picture, the reference picture I had, but I always have to tweak the composition and the proportion so it fits with whatever I'm working with. And then I went with starlings. It's a bit chaotic, but it wasn't chaotic enough. I also ended up adding some layers of leaves on top of the drawing, and so I actually quite like how it turned out. It's very chaotic, but the textures are really interesting. I'm going to show you. So here, close up of the details. So I ended up adding leaves on top of the drawing in watercolor painting, and so layered some granulating watercolors and even some colored pencils, and the details are really interesting. I really love the granulating colors in this one specifically. I think I really tried to use them more. Here you can see it as well. Again, I just added the watercolor on top of it, and then it is granulating watercolor. I used a lot of cobalt, and then again the colored pencils. I really quite like how it turned out. Here you can see the birds a little bit more, so I added them later on, so they're not going to be in the coloring book. I think I wanted to just add more life onto that one in the end, so I decided to add them as well. And the other part I really like is the magnolia ones. I also used granulating colors here. The pink is PR259. It's ultra pink, I think it's called, ultra pink. And also some cobalt violets. So yeah, just some nice granulation. And I think it's a bit chaotic, but I really like it. So this is the full picture again. It's a bit chaotic, but I really like it. I think I really struggled with that one, with the pink wash, and then I added the yellow, and then I wanted the blue that was granulating, and I wanted textures on the trees. And I thought, well, if you are going to go for chaotic, then go full in, and that's why I added leaves, the nepenthes, and all the starlings. And yeah, I think I managed to make it work, at least for me, at least right now. And it's going to be available. Best to subscribe to my newsletter if you're interested. I'm not exactly sure when yet. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit different from usual because there's not a process. It's not a process video. It's more me showing you the work I've done. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. If you want something specific for the coloring book, now it's really the time to leave that in the comments below. If you watched it until the end, please leave a pencil emoji in the comments, something like that at least. A drawing or a pencil emoji in the comments. I really love to see those emojis. I say it again and again, but it really motivates me to make videos on YouTube because it's not the money. I love the community we're creating here. I don't know, I find you all very supportive, and yeah, that's really great. I like that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and see you in my next video. Bye!